Thanks for joining us, Chief William. In the summer of 2024, a landslide impacted returning sockeye and chinook salmon to your area. What effects did this have on the community?
A lot of our salmon was already going to be impacted from the big bar slide 4 years prior. So, and with this big slide, it cut that in half again. So it's like a catastrophe. It's huge. It had long-term effects, and the salmon, about 50% made it up. Our task force we put together at the nation level is followed by even the Pacific Salmon Commission, and they get in all the information from our nation task force about the impact about the Tsilhqot'in River, which comes out of the Aboriginal title land, and the salmon spawn in Aboriginal title land. So it's Tsilhqot'in means we're the river people, Tsilhqot'in, and we really depend on the river, on the salmon.
In a recent press release from the nation, a high-risk tension crack has been spotted in the area. What effects could this have?
It could have huge effects, huge impacts. It'll be much like the big bar, and it's going to stop river again. Like last year, it stopped it for almost 6 days, and this one could be more. There's canyons that it's going through, and it's going to be, the water, the river will be held back for a longer period of time. And then the impact from last year, all these sediments, some of that is still coming down, is still affecting the salmon. So you get the second one, and it's going to be another big hit. And this affects other areas downriver into the Fraser River, which we call Tsilhqot'in.
You mentioned this briefly, but if there's another blockage this year, how will this impact the salmon next season?
Well, it's a 4-year cycle. So the 2024, we'll see the impacts in 2028. We're monitoring. We have sonars. We have different equipment using the satellite as well, just to see where they are and what's going on. And we want to try and mitigate as much as possible. So this year, you will see the impact in 4 years from now. So that would be 2029. So that's when the next 4 years will be the impact. So, but it also slides into, we have 4 different cycles that the salmon that come up the river, and they impact the next year's cycle as well.
An emergency salmon task force was created last summer for issues like this. How did that come about?
Well, that was, we have one of a very strong team, fisheries teams, we're biologists, and that team from the leadership got together, and with the impact, especially with last year's slide, and the impact there blocking the river for almost 6 days. With that, we also been meeting the Salmon Commission, Pacific Salmon Commission, several times over the past few years. So having those connections, and the tidal wind, the Aboriginal tidal wind we won back in 2014, we've been meeting federal and provincial ministers and governments, and we've always had concerns dealing with our salmon coming up the Tsilhqot'in River, the Fraser. So our team's been on this for years, and we've been working with DFO and other neighboring First Nations, and trying to make sure that the salmon make it back up to the spawning grounds. When we fish, when we do the fishing, it does not really impact the numbers, but what happens out when it goes down to the ocean and back, that's where the impact happens. And that's what we're doing, is communicating, working with government, industries, and just seeing what's out there and seeing what we could do to lessen the impact.
Thank you for your time today, Chief William.
Thank you. You're welcome.